This is an interview summary where where ICE and Homeland Security agents Hinkle and Malpica arrived at the Federal Bureau of Prisons in Alabama at a location we don't know where in Alabama. That's redacted, but it was to conduct an interview with redacted, and we know that that person is themselves in the immigration system, possibly facing deportation, possibly not, we don't know, but we know that they are in that system because it then says that they have an alien file number. Again, the number itself is redacted. Upon arrival, the agents interviewed him, and he stated that he did understand and speak some English. He was advised of his Miranda rights in Spanish, and then he voluntarily waived his rights. Okay, that's suspect right there. I mean, you know, but let's keep going. But I mean, any of you guys who have ever watched any of the law shows on TV, even, probably already your spidey sense is going, wait a cotton pick in a minute. Very rarely would anyone who is under legal scrutiny waive their rights if they fully understood those rights. But anyway, he voluntarily waived his rights and agreed to speak with Agent Hinkle and Malpica. And the following is an interview summary. It is not intended to be a verbatim account and does not memorialize all statements made during the interview. Okay? Is that Spidey sense number 2? Okay. So here is the summary of that one. This is the shorter one of the 2. I'm going to use the name Joe instead of always saying redacted, okay? So this guy who's being interviewed by these agents who says he has limited understanding of English, so he was given his Miranda rights in Spanish and then he waived his Miranda rights. It doesn't say what language the interview was conducted in, by the way. We're just gonna call him Joe for ease of this show. Is that okay with you guys? I'm sure his name isn't Joe. Okay. Is everyone able to hear me? I'm reviewing the chat quickly and I see. Okay. Okay. Joe stated his name was Joe with a date of birth of redacted. Joe stated he was born in El Salvador and both of his parents were from El Salvador. Joe stated he last entered the United States in August of 2021. Joe stated he had lived in the United States off and on since approximately 2002 or 2004. Agent Hinkle asked Joe if he knew Armando Abrego Garcia. Joe started smiling and stated he knew Abrego. Joe stated he first met Abrego in Silver Springs, Maryland, sometime between 2015 and 2017. Joe stated he met Abrego while Abrego was a taxi driver for Taxi Latino. Joe stated he had seen the news approximately 2 days prior, where he had seen President Trump talking about Abrego. Joe stated the news said Abrego had been pulled over, but Abrego was not charged. When Agent Hinkle asked Joe how many vehicles he had owned since 2021, Joe stated he wanted to stop the questioning. Agent Hinkle told Joe that Agent Hinkle believed Joe had information that could be beneficial to the government, and the goal of the interview was not to add more charges to Joe. Joe stated to get him a lawyer and some paper and he would help. That is the entire interview of Joe. Now, granted, it's the shorter of the 2, but nonetheless, I mean, what the actual? That's it. This is nearly half of the evidence on which the DOJ is appealing the dismissal based on vindictive prosecution of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. What is so clear to me in my belief is that, like so many other things, and I said this about the yesterday, that they have now lost their 23rd case. They're 23-0 for um, being able to get at the voter data, right? I said yesterday in that case, and I really believe it in this case as well, that this is basically the DOJ putting on a play for Daddy. I mean, that's really what it feels like. The DOJ is trying to show Trump that they are doing what he wants, and they have to know they're going to lose, just like with the 23-0, the 23rd case.